All right, it's Matt. So, how to work out in under an hour, how to have an effective workout in under an hour. A lot of people in life don't have a whole lot of time to dedicate to the gym, especially if they're doing so multiple times a week, 3, 4, 5, whatever amount of days it is a week. People don't have, 2-3 hours every single day to dedicate to working out in the gym. Not that that's, by any means necessary. But oftentimes you hear people say, oh, well, I don't have enough time to work out. I don't have enough time to do this and that, which I totally get. It's true. People have, lives to live. They have work, they have family, they have whatever else it may be. So I wanted to make a quick video about this just to kind of outline that you don't need a whole lot of time to have an effective workout and to actually be able to see results in the gym. So say you have 45 minutes, an hour a day, or a couple days a week, whatever your chosen split is to dedicate to working out, going to the gym. More than enough time. Something I've said in other videos and I'll continue to say is you're going to want to prioritize, quality over quantity, right? And oftentimes people think, oh, well, I need to do 5, 6, 7 different exercises to have a good workout. Again, quality over quantity. If you have 3, 4 really good exercises over, 6, 7 mediocre exercises or movements, the 3 to 4 is going to win every single time. So with that said, again, you do not need a whole lot of time or a bunch of time dedicated to the gym and in your workouts to see results. As an example, say you have, a push-pull leg split, which really how you're going to, depending on kind of the orientation of your split, if you're kind of consolidating days in terms of like push-pull legs where you're hitting a couple of muscle groups in one day versus maybe if you have like a longer split, like a 5-day split where you're hitting like chest, back, legs all on separate days. Depending on what split you've chosen or that you're, going through with, you're either going to have to, do more in the gym on the days that you do go, or you're going to have to go more days and do less when you are at the gym, if that makes sense. So for an example, just because for something like push-pull legs, you have more muscle groups to hit. Say you have, I have an hour on Monday to do push day. Here's what I would recommend, or here's how I would structure, a workout. So push day being your chest, your shoulders, and your triceps. I would start with something that's going to hit both the chest and the front delt. So any really pushing movement that can be, I would target the chest just because the chest is going to hit the front delt and the chest. Whereas if like a shoulder pressing movement wouldn't really be hitting the chest, but would be hitting the front delt. So something like a incline dumbbell press. Again, going to want to prioritize those incline movements for growing the chest. It's the pectoris major. The incline press is going to hit something like that, or is going to target the upper chest. That's also going to hit a lot of secondary and even direct work of the front delt there. So exercise number 1 can be a dumbbell incline press. Then you can move into a dumbbell shoulder press. Again, staying on the same, bench that can be moved up and down. Grab the dumbbells, do your working weight for your incline dumbbell press and then your shoulder press. And then you can grab some dumbbells and do lateral raises. So to hit the side delt. So that's 3 exercises. Then you can move into something like a tricep push down. That would be exercise number 4, go on the cables. Then you could do a chest fly, a pec deck, or if you want to use dumbbells for that. And then move into something like a overhead extension on the cables with a rope or a bar. 6 exercises. That's going to be, a sufficient push day. Maybe you want to do dips. Again, you can kind of change and switch out whatever your preferred exercise is. But if you're on a push day and you're shooting for, 4 to 6 exercises, again, you're going to want to prioritize that these sets and these movements are quality, that you're, achieving that hypertrophy, that you're stimulating the muscle so that you can grow it back with the nutrients. But, again, you have 60 minutes or so. You dedicate 10 minutes or so to each exercise, 10 minutes for 6 exercises. That's 60 minutes right there. You should have plenty of rest time in between sets as well, especially if you're starting out heavier on kind of those main movements, where you are going to want to, or at least from, in my opinion here, you're going to want to structure a workout to have the heavier movements, at the beginning, because you have the most, energy, and presumably you've eaten before, so you have, the most nutrients, energy, so on and so forth. But I'm kind of getting off track here. But 6 movements for a push day. And again, I wanted to kind of highlight something like a push day, because you have multiple muscle groups that need to be hit, on that day, as opposed to if it was like just chest or just back or just legs, where you kind of, have less muscle groups to hit, or it's a more focused, less consolidated workout day. Again, 60 minutes, more than enough time to hit any sort of muscle group in any sort of fashion with any sort of split. 45 minutes, 60 minutes, focused on quality. You can have a super effective workout and see great gains, if you structure a workout with that, and you kind of just keep those rules in mind. But that is essentially what I would recommend if you don't have a whole lot of time to dedicate every day or multiple times a week to the gym. It's how I'd structure a workout and how I would kind of approach it. But that's what I had for this one, and I'll see you in the next one.